Two Beards crew, welcome to Wrexham Reviews coming at you. Episode 2 coming up after this. G'day, fuckheads, Sheilas, beard brethren, and just our listeners. Welcome to our review episode of episode 2 of Welcome to Wrexham, called The Quiet Zone. Now, I just kick things off, we had Millie tipping actually on our podcast, so link will be in the description for that. If you want to um, go and have a watch and have a listen to see who Millie is and get more context, then I highly encourage you head over and see that. But now we're here to talk about episode 2 called The Quiet Place, is it?
Quiet Zone.
The Quiet Zone. Yeah, The Quiet Zone. So the episode focused around Paul Mullen's kid Albie and obviously Millie tipping. Um, really emotional episode.
Yeah. Honestly, mate, it was for those who are obviously watching this, you've obviously seen it, and it's around, Albie's diagnosis of autism and how Millie, who is a super fan of Wrexham and a lovely lady at that, living day to day with it, and how Wrexham has kind of gotten her to come out of her shell and really helped her to be in a really good place. And also, seeing how parents, deal with it, not just Paul Mullen as a father, but also Millie's mother as well. So a really good episode. And yeah, I'm
Mm.
trying not to get up too emotional about
So
it, but it was
I
it was
think
one of
this
those
was
ones.
I think this was very much around that sort of family style, sort of giving you more of a look into who Paul Mullen is as well
Yeah.
as a person, because we're so used to seeing him just net goals and all that sort of stuff. But for us to see him as a dad and see how devoted he is to his kid Albie, uh, just simply heartwarming stuff. And I think um, from the knock on to this, from the last episode to this episode, it was very, I think it was quite a different change of pace. Um,
Yeah.
it was real. I think maybe we were sort of really establishing where the run in goes for this season. It
Yep.
started off with Paul Mullen and Albie on the beach, and Paul Mullen is writing Albie's name in the sand, and he's talking about Albie's diagnosis. Then it cuts to Millie, and it just seems to be backwards and forwards between Millie and Albie. And I think I really like that juxtaposition because clearly the connection between Millie and Paul Mullen is quite strong. Um, and what she actually made for Paul Mullen and showed her meeting all the players like she spoke to us about on the podcast. Um, I think it just goes to show that this community as of Wrexham, it's really coming together. It's showing that it's the football club, but the football club and the community. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I could have put it better. It is that juxtaposition between the two of them, and also the relationship that's been created. Even hearing Millie's mum talk about it as well, saying, Paul's been such a massive influence on Millie, and the relationship they have is very genuine. And when that gift was given from Millie, and I posted it on my Twitter about it, or sorry, X, about that scene, and I was a mess. I was a wreck, and I don't think it was emotion because of like feeling sorry or feeling sad. It was just such a beautiful, touching moment because it just shows the beauty and the superpower that Millie puts it of autism, and the superpower that is. And she's like, I don't think it should be called a disability. I think it should be called a superpower. And yeah, that got me right in the feels, and us
She's
being
so
able to,
wise.
yeah, so wise.
She's so
She's
wise.
18 years of age. She was on our pod when she talked about it. It was just she gave us so much for a full hour of her time, just telling about her passion about Wrexham and about life in general, that she lives. And
And
man, it made me happy.
remember when I asked her on the podcast, I said, what is one thing you would say to someone out there with autism? And she said, just be yourself.
Yeah,
Nothing is normal anymore. Just be
exactly.
yourself. And I mean, this girl's something else. And holy shit, I'm not going to tear up. I'm not going to tear
Nah,
up. But wow, I
nah.
mean, I think this episode really was quite strong on the feels with both Paul Mullen and Millie Tipping and the family, interlaced with a little bit of Declan Swans, obviously because they made the Paul Mullen song.
You can't forget them. They're obviously
Yeah.
a massive part of this Wrexham journey, and it's
Mm.
playing in every fan's car from fucking the race course to Ontario, man. So like
Oh
it's
yeah,
everywhere.
yeah. So I think it was very brief. It was 21 minutes long. Needed to be longer, I think, but it got the message across. Um,
Yeah,
so I'm sitting here thinking, geez, what would be my two beards rating for this? Like, do we give
yep,
it like I think because the emotional heartstring that it tugs on, I want to give it a 10, but I don't think it's quite there. Um, it's well and truly up there. I'm going to have to say for this episode, 9 out of 10. Must watch.
yeah.
Two beards
Good
seal
viewing.
of approval on this one. 9 out of 10.
Well
What about
done.
you, Adrian?
Um, I'm usually the more pessimistic one, but I'm going with 10 out of 10, and I'm not, and I'm going to just tell you why just quickly, and I'll be as brief as
Are
possible.
you going with the Elliot Lee?
I'm going with the Elliot
10 out,
Lee.
10 out of 10 plus the Elliot Lee.
10 out of 10. 10 out of 10.
10
He
out of 10.
it it was not just I basically mentioned earlier. I said this will and should win an Emmy for this episode alone. It is so it's well thought out. It's like you said, the juxtaposition was set amazingly. Like it was not just one story and then the next story. It was two stories intertwining and how they affect one another, and how it affects people with autism, but also affects the people around it. And seeing Paul Mullen, choke up. That's raw. That's a
Oh, that
documentary.
broke
It's
me.
not
That broke
it
me.
it it's not fake. It's not anything like that. So 10 out of 10 for me, honestly, giving that the full credit it deserves. Yes, I agree. It should have been longer, but that's my only criticism. But that's not a criticism on my score. That's a 10 out of
Right.
10 for me.
So it's 10 out of 10, but are you giving it the Elliot Lee?
I'm keeping it the 10 out of 10 because I think the
Right.
elite needs to be done appropriately. And by
Okay.
that, guys, that's our version of an 11 out of 10. And we'll explain that when it happens.
Awesome. All right. So 10 out of 10 for Adrian, 9 out of 10 for me. Viewers, if you like what you've heard here today, please like, share, subscribe, and by all means, give us your own view in the comment section. We would love to engage with you in the comments. So just comment down below, and we'll see you on the next episode of Two Beards Reviews. See you next time.